conditions that if I don't renew my membership will lapse. I'll cease after 6 months without renewal. I know. So, what is the condition? Why would you not know at what point your membership will lapse or will not lapse, or whether you are a member or not?
I now remember, Minister. I now remember that when I was the DPP, I used to be invited by them to come and speak as a guest speaker. Even when I was in the FIC, they invited me to come and speak as a guest speaker. But I remember whilst I was in the NPA, I was teaching them about the issues of their responsibilities and the issues of the membership of senior people who are representing the management or the employer in the society. I think at that time I had already withdrawn as a member. I was no longer a member. So I can confirm that I'm no longer a member, Minister. I'm only invited by them. I'm still very much visible. I've got a gift that they gave me last day. Because they invited me to come and speak as a guest speaker. So I do support them, but I'm no longer a member. Yeah, so
I remember even myself, I get invited to go and speak to them. But I'm not a lawyer.
I can confirm that, my Minister, that I'm no longer a member.
I'm not a lawyer, I'm not a member. But because of the position I hold, they'll invite me to come and speak. So what we were focusing on, it's your membership.
Yeah, no, I terminated my membership once I was still in the NPA.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you a member of any organization?
Of any organization?
That's what the form is asking you.
No, I'm not a member of any organization.
Okay.
Yeah.
I see you confirmed your state of health. That is correct. No issues that will impede your holding of office as a NDPP. Let's go to your area of work in terms of law. If you can take us through that.
Which section are you now on, Minister?
I'm on section 2, legal background. Where you stated, section 2, legal background, where you stated your area of work around criminal laws. Take us through all that.
Yeah. Minister, I've dealt mainly with criminal law as a prosecutor in the National Prosecuting Authority for a period of 23 years. In all levels of courts, from the district court to the regional court to the high court. I also have experience of civil law because I've practiced as a practitioner in the office of the Asset Recovery Unit. And our proceedings there are civil proceedings because we draft founding papers, we draft supporting affidavits, and we go and move applications ex parte. So I do have that background as a senior state advocate in asset recovery, also as a deputy director of public prosecutions. That was really responsible for checking those papers and ensuring that they are court ready. I also have experience on issues of corruption, mainly as a prosecutor, but also during my term in the FIC. When I was in the FIC, I played a very critical role when the country drafted the National Anti-Corruption Strategy. I was appointed to represent the members of the Anti-Corruption Task Team in that team. We are calling it a reference group that was assigned to review the National Anti-Corruption Strategy and ensure that it is of quality and it meets it's in line with the global standards and it's in line with the risk that the country is facing. So I chaired that reference group together with Mr. David Lewis from Corruption Watch. But I was in the FIC, I stayed up until the president appointed the National Anti-Corruption Advisory Council to take over from the reference group. So I do understand the obligations really that are are imposed on us when it comes to the national anti-corruption strategy. I also represented the country in the G20, anti-corruption working group, and I took a project which I thought was very critical, the project of prioritizing asset recovery. And we were looking at it from an angle of enhancing asset recovery through public-private partnerships. Through public-private partnership. Why?
When did you participate on the G20 now as South Africa was chair, led by SIU? Or is it prior to that?
It was prior to that. I was still in government. I was still there in the FIC at that time.
Which year were you participating there?
I was appointed 2018 in the FIC.
Or for your duration at stay?
At that time, it was India. That was the presidency of the G20.
During presidency of India.
During the presidency of India. So I represented the country there. Then on the issues of transnational organized crime, that's one area that I'm focusing on now in my business. And it started, I gained really that interest when I was still in the FIC, in the National Prosecuting Authority. I was responsible for the Africa Prosecutors Association. So I was a member in representing the office of the NDPP in the Africa Prosecutors Association, together with Advocate Machugweni, and also at a later stage, Advocate Machugweni was replaced by Advocate Mzinyati. So at that stage, we were trying to encourage countries to have laws that are focusing on combating money laundering. And South Africa was a bit advanced there. And so while we were advanced, we were also a member of the Financial Action Task Force, and currently was still the only member in Africa that is sitting in the Financial Action Task Force. So it was critical for us to be able to raise awareness, especially in Africa, on how. So I'm training a lot of people on issues of organized crime, meeting the recommendations of the Financial Action Task Force. So I've got experience in that area. I must say, Minister, even now in my business, through the EU Global Facility, I've trained more than 24 countries in Africa on the issues of FATF standards, focusing on IO6, immediate outcomes 6, 7, and 8, that relates to law enforcement agencies. Then in the FIC, I've got an experience also in the FIC in running the financial intelligence unit. And globally, we also have financial intelligence units. It's one of the recommendations of UNCAC, that countries establish a financial intelligence unit that can assist in the identification of proceeds of crime. So I've served in the FIC for a period of 5 years, 8 months, but during my tenure there, I was able really to receive the confidence of the global heads of FIUs. They appointed me as a vice chair. I served as a vice chair for a period of more than a year, and after that, they also appointed me to chair the Egmont Group. So it was really the global organization saying, we've got confidence in your leadership. Yeah, so I've got experience of in the financial intelligence.
And where you say I chair, you mean yourself personally?
Myself, I was chairing.
We're sitting there representing the country?
No, they don't appoint a person there to come and represent the country. We don't have any rotation. They look at you as an individual and say, we want you to be able to lead us.
Is that including the work that you did in UN Convention Against Crime, and also on the United Nations Convention Against Transnational Organized Crime?
In Egmont, we deal mostly with issues of transnational organized crime, issues of money laundering, but we also deal with issues of any forms of proceeds-generating crimes. Same as the FIC is focusing.
What I'm trying to understand is, remember here we are looking at your knowledge, your participation, and your areas of law.
Yeah, I fully understand.
That's why I would ask that question. So I know with us as South Africans and Africans, we normally use the plural word we as well. So I don't want you to make that mistake where you're saying we and I. So I need you to be clear so that the panel can see the expertise that you're talking about.
That was me in my. Let me explain this, Minister, because the Egmont Group, it's a group of financial intelligence unit. They appoint a person who is in the financial intelligence unit, but they don't appoint a country. We don't rotate, we don't take turns. So they were looking at me as a person. Yeah.
Compared to in the G20 as well, because it's a country.
In the G20, the G20, I was approached by the office of DPSA, and they said, we think you can be able to do this as a person. So, and they approached me, and I accepted, and I got a letter from the Minister of DPSA appointing me to represent the country in the G20. Yeah.
Okay. No, I just wanted, because not all members would be familiar with how we've got members in the panel who are not in government. So they must have a distinction between, because in G20 you represent, but these others you are appointed directly to say. This is what, but your knowledge of being involved is not retracted.
Yes. Then in the Financial Advisory Intermediary Service Act, when I left the FIC, the Minister of Finance, I think a year later, appointed me to serve in the tribunal, in the Financial Services Tribunal. So I sit with other advocates and sometimes with judges in that panel, and we deal with those issues. It's mostly...
You're still a member now?
I'm still a member now of the tribunal appointed by the minister, yeah. We deal with issues when persons have been debarred, and they come and apply for the reconsideration of that debarment, and we'll go through the papers, even have a hearing and draft judgments. I think I've been involved in 6 matters because we're quite a big pool of advocates sitting there. I've sat in 6 matters and I've drafted 2 judgments.
Okay, that's good. Let's move on to your next area. I think we've dealt with your area of law prosecution. Have they been able to give you your copy, or maybe let's finish the management area. We'll come back to your experience because it links to prosecution. Your experience as management, you are indicating here you've been in management level, both in terms of the Deputy Director Public Prosecution for 5 years, acting DPP South Gauteng, and DPP Free State for 8 years, head of FIC for 5 years. Tell me, how many
Minister,
people did you
where are you
manage?
now? I apologize. Where are you now, Minister?
Section 4, managerial experience. Section 4 of your question.
Okay, on page 5, yeah.
Yeah,
Thank you, Minister.
page 5.
Yeah.
How many people, more or less, have you been managing at FIC that were reporting directly to you, like as a head? How many people?
The EXCO, I think it's about 8.
EXCO is 8.
Yeah.
So you were the head.
I was the head, I was the
So
director. In terms of the act, the director is the CEO of the FIC. Yeah.
Overall staff complement of FIC?
It's not a big complement. It's about 300 people in the FIC.
300
yeah.
people.
Yeah.
And then in the Free State, how many people were managing as head, as the DPP?
As the DPP in the Free State, in South Gauteng, people were quite many. In the Free State, I think, I don't recall, Minister, but they were in the thousands, but not too many. Not as many as in South Gauteng. South Gauteng, when I acted as a DPP there for a year, it was quite a bigger team.
South Gauteng is big. It's one of our
South
biggest
Gauteng is
offices.
big. Yeah.
But we can say you've literally managed more than 300 people.
Yeah.
Across.
South Gauteng, South Gauteng was quite big then, Johannesburg.
Okay. And then your management style. How would you describe your management style?
Minister, I'm that person who wants to say...
I'm asking you this because you didn't answer it in the form. The form asked you to answer the number of years, number of people you've